I am vengeance. I am the knight, and I am going to send you home with your balls in a sling. Oh my goodness, have you seen Absolute Batman? He is a tank, and he doesn't play nice with the bad guys. And finally, someone is about to get an action figure out of the gate, because Absolute Batman has been around for a couple of years now, and the toy companies have been a little bit slow to get the plastic on our shelves. You know that eventually, of course, Todd McFarlane Toys, they've got the DC Multiverse license. For now, they will be getting an Absolute Batman out there eventually, but the first ones with official reveal images is Hot Toys. Of course, Hot Toys are 1/6 scale, not 1/12 scale, not 6-inch, not the good Lord scale, but nonetheless, I'm getting excited about this because every once in a blue moon, I might want to treat myself to a hot toy. The financial ability to do that has been getting rarer and rarer these days, but this might have to be an exception. Because I love Absolute Batman. I've never read Batman comics regularly, but I started picking up Absolute Batman with issue number 1 and the new take on The Dark Knight. Oh, it's a breath of fresh air. Not that I needed a breath of fresh air since I was never breathing the old Batman air, but you know what I mean. So Absolute Batman taking Bruce Wayne not only back to basics, but completely changing his dynamic. He's working class, he doesn't have the money, doesn't have the car, doesn't have the cave. Well, he does have a car, more on that later. But his mother is alive, he has a network of friends. He's completely different to the comparatively cuddly Bruce Wayne that we know in the main DC universe. Even though Batman will always be a badass however he's portrayed, I feel like if you're a criminal in the regular DC universe and you're confronted by Batman, you might think, you know what? Tough day at the office, but I guess I'll get a little black eye, maybe a fat lip, and I'll be back on the streets by tomorrow. Whereas if you're getting cornered by Absolute Batman, oh pal, I hope you got your affairs in order. Yes, he still follows Batman's rule of no killing, but it's a bit of a grey area. This Batman will stop at nothing to keep the streets of Gotham safe, including hilariously punting a baby into the river. It wasn't like a baby, it was a small evil villain who kind of looked like a baby. I don't know what the deal was with that. But bottom line, Absolute Batman is an absolute beast, and Hot Toys have captured it beautifully. First of all, even though Hot Toys is a 1/6 scale company, generally, this is way bigger than any of their other 1/6 scale figures, as it should be. Because that was the first thing people noticed when they saw the original designs of Absolute Batman. This dude is a tank. I mean, he's a wrecking ball, and I love that. He is built like a linebacker. Is that the right expression? I don't do sports. Linebacker sounds like a big thing. I think people are equated to linebackers, aren't they? Like, whoa, he's built like a linebacker. Right? I'm right with that. So Hot Toys have captured the huge hulking form of Absolute Batman and all the little changes that were made to the character design to really make him feel different. The big one, besides the obvious size, is the cape. And I love what they've done here with the cape, in that it's not a classic cape. It's almost got a bit of a mind of its own. He's got a bit of a Doc Ock kind of vibe to it, where it's made up of all these different chains and tendrils, and they can kind of work independently to fire out, snare things, drag them back. He can put a charge through them so they go stiff like in The Dark Knight, where they go bing, like that, and he can walk on them like a bat, as opposed to riding it like a banta. So Hot Toys have got this cool, weird style of cape, which looks wicked. I imagine there's got to be bendy wire in there that allows you to wrap them around him and have them pose however you like. That looks really cool. And if you're thinking, Dave, are you paid by Hot Toys to do this? Nah, I'm just trying to convince myself to buy it. Then going on from the cape, we've got a couple of swap out accessories as well, and that's the spikes. This is where Batman gets super heavy metal. He's got these retractable spikes over his back and his shoulder blades, effectively turning him into the Dark Porcupine. And it looks like Hot Toys are going to give you the option to change those in and out. So he has his relaxed, less spiky mode, and then his big, ha, danger, got my heckles up look, which honestly is the most fun one. Then you gotta have the alternate faces for Hot Toys, because of course this is a super premium line, so you gotta have a couple of different looks to play with. You got the one face every Batman has to have, which is stoic and brooding. That's Batman down to a T. But The absolute Batman, I feel the way he's written and portrayed, he's not as disciplined as the regular Batman. Therefore, it's so much more common for him to fly into a rage and be like, "Brah! Let's freaking go!" And we've got the head to match that as well. So two completely different, distinct looks. You love to see that. And going up from the head, there's another new addition which I really enjoyed seeing in the comics. You can argue that criminals are a cowardly and superstitious lot. Maybe dressing up as a bat might instoke fear into them. Do you instoke things? No, you invoke things. You stoke fear while invoking it. Close enough. But did he ever really need the ears? The big, long, impractical, pointy ears? Well, in this case, yes, he does. Because those big ears there, yeah, guess what? Huge, big, badass butcher knives. That's what they are. And in the first issue, he used them beautifully, and it told you how he can do it without still breaking his no-killing rule. They have Alfred monitoring Batman while he's fighting all these thugs, and he sees him slicing and dicing all these guys, and he kind of reports to himself and his superiors that he can see the precision that Batman uses these knives like a surgeon, slicing and cutting the enemies every which way he needs to in order to incapacitate them without actually separating life from the body. Not an easy thing to do when you got 20 different people trying to bum rush you. Also, when I said he's trying not to kill, yeah, trying is probably the optimum word, because he can also make them like angle forward, and then he headbutted someone straight through the eyes. So, I'm sure they walked it off. Going further down the body, there's the other big bone of contention initially with the design, and that was the comically gigantic bat symbol on his chest. First of all, people were like, well, that's stupid. That's just a big rectangle with some spikes. And then they doubled down and went, oh yeah, by the way, it's also a battle axe. And a lot of people were naysaying, but I was like, go on. So we have a wonderful moment in the first issue where Batman shunks a pole up into the logo and pulls it off his chest to turn it into a huge, big Warhammer-style battle axe. And of course, Hot Toys have recreated that as well beautifully. So you do have the removable chest piece with the same kind of yellow grid design underneath as well. So you got so many different types of posing options. This is such a fun-looking figure. Honestly, it would be silly not to buy it, right? Of course, as far as practicality is concerned, I mean, you are going to be looking at about 300 behavior bucks for that. You know, I say behavior bucks because dollars, pounds, a lot of different people from a lot of different places watch this show. So behavior bucks, roughly 300 you're going to be looking at. That is a lot of dough, but you're getting a lot of action figure for your money. So gang, what do you think about Absolute Batman? Not just the Hot Toys figure, but also about the comic book itself. I'm a huge big fan, but I want to know what you think of Absolute Batman and Absolute Superman, Flash, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, Martian Manhunter. DC really are going all in on the line. I do consider it a bit of a shame that McFarlane are losing the DC license just when the Absolute line is really taking off, and it would be so perfectly tailor-made to their style. What McFarlane do better than anyone else at this price point, I feel, is mechs and monsters. And oh boy, does Absolute Batman have a lot of them. A lot of his Absolute villains are like a nightmare version of the originals, roided up to the gills and monsterfied. So a McFarlane Bane or a McFarlane Absolute Joker, that would be amazing. Maybe he can squeeze them out before Mattel take over the DC license. Fingers crossed. So gang, thank you so much for watching. Comment below and let me know your thoughts on this. And until next time, keep displaying model behavior.